The Sig P365 or the Glock 43? Which one would you choose? Let's hear your reasons why in the comments down below. Both of these pistols have been everyday carry for me. This one I've owned a little bit longer than this one, but they've both been carried about the same amount of time. If I were to go head to head with the 365 versus the 43, right now I'm not sure which one I would choose. Let's put some rounds down range, then we'll get these on the bench and talk about it. Before I begin shooting, I do have my eye protection on and my hearing protection in. So we're back in from the range from shooting the P365 and the Glock 43. Before I go any further, I want to make sure that you leave a comment down below which gun you think is better. Now, one of my complaints with Glock has always been the grip. I like shooting Glocks, I can shoot them well, but the guns just don't fit my hand. Where I changed over the SIGs because of that ergonomics, and I've never really looked back. And quite frankly, holding these two in my hand, I can tell you the SIG feels way better than the Glock 43. The Glock 43 just has a wider grip and it just doesn't fit my hand quite as well. Now I have bigger hands and you think a bigger grip would work better for me, but quite frankly, that SIG just feels better in my hand. Now both these guns, you can see I have the Pinkie rest magazines in, and when I wrap my hands around, they both kind of feel the same, at least in length, for me getting a good grip. They're both hitting about mid-pinky on both of them. So I don't quite get my pinky on. Now, feeling these, honestly, the Glock has a better pinky rest than the SIG. My finger fits a lot better onto that magazine, whereas this Glock one, or this SIG one, just has this ridge on it, and it's kind of annoying. It's kind of digging into my hand a little bit. Now, the one thing I like about the SIG versus the Glock is the SIG's got a little bigger of a trigger guard in it. So if you do have gloves on, your hands are going to fit a little better into the trigger of the P365. Now the P365 has a really aggressive grip texture on the grip module. And I have a really good solid purchase of this. Now feel the Glock. The Glock has its typical, the new gen squares on it, and I just don't feel that I have a good solid grip on this gun. If my hands get sweaty, I just feel that this one is going to slip out of my hand. Whereas the 365 just kind of sticks right to my hand. Now, one thing I've been critical of the Glock 43 is its lack of rail. Now you can see it's got a very smooth dust cover on it, whereas the 365 does have a ridge in there, so that way you can mount either a flashlight or a laser. Now, that is a plus that the 365 has it. The minus is it's proprietary. SIG seems to be going a little more proprietary with even the mounting of their optics, and now with this rail on the 365. I'd rather see a pick rail on this 365 than this weird thing that SIG did. However, it's still better than not having one at all. Now, if you look at the overall size of these guns, they're about the same. I'm going to put these on top. You can see that that 365 is just a hair shorter on the front and back. It sits a little lower going top to bottom. And it has a straighter grip angle to it. Whereas the Glock seems to have a little bit of a cant, the Sig 365 a little bit straighter. But other than that, they're all pretty much the same size. Now, the magazine release on these guns, I absolutely hate the Glock. If I go in and I push that mag, and this is an empty mag, but it still should fall free from the gun. Whereas if I go into that 365, falls right out of the gun. Now, that could be because we are talking about a metal magazine versus a plastic magazine. But still, this Glock should fall straight out of the gun with no problems. Now, just to make sure it's not a magazine problem, there's the flush fit one. This is kind of a problem for me because if I am empty, I want my magazine to come out. I want, when I get to slide lock, that magazine should clear, so I am ready to load my next magazine. So that is definitely something against the Glock. Now, I've always liked Glock sights. I love the fact that they have the horseshoe here and the dot in the front. That sight system has always worked for me. Now, Sig went a different direction, is they get this big dot up in the front here, and you can barely see them, but there are two dots there. And these are night sights. Now, I would normally say that I would shoot a Glock better than a Sig. It doesn't matter whether it's a Glock 17 or a Glock 19 versus my P320 in either compact or subcompact. I can run a Glock a lot better than I run a Sig, mostly because I have a lot more trigger time with them. However, with this Glock 43 versus this 365, I can shoot this 365 a lot better than this Glock 43. I am more accurate with that 365. That big dot in the front just naturally draws your attention to that front sight, and your shots are more true. Now, the obvious elephant in the room is magazine capacity, something that Glock truly missed the boat on. The Glock 43 has 6 rounds. The 365 has 10. I'm not sure where Glock went with this. I mean, you can see that that magazine is much narrower than the 365, and that's how the 365 is getting its capacity. But if we look at these guns side by side, you can see that there is a significant difference between the width, but since Sig narrowed the front to back and expanded that side to side, that gun just naturally fits in my hand a little better. So by now, you should have your comments down below. Which one's better, Glock 43 or Sig P365? I can run a Glock all day long. They run great, I just know how to shoot them. However, it comes down to ergonomics for me. I have weaker hands than I did when I was younger. However, the problem is Glock just feels like a Glock. This Glock 43 is just a narrower version of a regular Glock. So ergonomics alone takes me to 365. The 365 has the traditional Sig ergonomics to it, and they just work for me. Add the fact that the 365 has a rail and that I can attach something to it, makes the 365 just a little bit better than the Glock. Add capacity. This Sig holds 10 versus the Glock with 6. I'm sorry, but P365 just has to be my carry gun over this Glock 43. So there it is. P365 is going to win over Glock 43. I'm sure I'm going to generate a lot of hate in the comments down below, but that's okay, because a Glock 43 just might fit your hand a lot better than it fits mine. Thanks for watching. Hope you're staying safe out there, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.